Welcome to this presentation on how to write the CIPD Level 5 questions for 5CO01 assessment for 2025 to 26. You can visit our website by clicking on link provided in comment sections or chat with us on WhatsApp on clicking link to get best expert help. You will find how to write this question in this video. Kindly subscribe us to and message us on. The sale of Calmere House to Chaffinch Group marked a significant turning point for employees. For over 2 decades, the organization had operated with a strong family ethos, consultative leadership style, and high employee engagement. Kirsten's management approach valued staff input and fostered trust, loyalty, and teamwork. However, following the acquisition, employees faced a shift to a hierarchical and bureaucratic structure with multiple management layers. Kath's autocratic leadership style replaced open dialogue with instruction-based management. Policies and procedures were introduced without consultation, and communication was largely via email. These changes disrupted the established culture and psychological contract between employees and leadership. As a result, employees began to feel uncertain, undervalued, and disconnected from decision-making processes. The experience reflects a significant cultural transformation rather than simply structural change, deeply affecting morale, motivation, and organizational commitment. The Kubler-Ross change curve model, originally developed to describe responses to grief, has been widely applied to organizational change. The model identifies a series of emotional stages individuals typically experience when confronted with significant change. These stages include shock, denial, frustration, depression, experimentation, decision, and integration. Not all individuals move through these stages at the same pace, and some may not experience every stage. However, the model is useful for understanding the emotional journey employees undergo during uncertainty and disruption. In the context of Calmere House, the sudden sale and cultural transformation triggered emotional responses that align closely with this framework. Employees moved from initial disbelief to frustration and dissatisfaction, and in many cases did not progress to later stages of acceptance. Analyzing the situation through this model helps explain rising turnover, sickness absence, and declining morale within the organization. At the shock stage of the Kubler-Ross model, individuals struggle to process unexpected news. Employees at Calmere House were deeply shocked when Kirsten announced the sale, as she had been emotionally invested in the organization for many years. Many staff viewed Calmere House as more than a workplace. It was built on family values and strong emotional connections. This attachment contributed to denial, where employees found it difficult to accept that ownership would genuinely change. Some may have hoped that operations would remain largely the same. During this period, uncertainty about job security, leadership style, and working conditions increased anxiety. Although Kirsten explained her reasons for selling, the emotional impact overshadowed rational explanations. Without structured change management or supportive communication from Chaffinch Group, employees were left to process these emotions independently, prolonging feelings of instability and insecurity. As the change progressed, employees moved into frustration and depression stages. The introduction of a hierarchical structure and Kath's directive management style conflicted sharply with the previous collaborative culture. Staff who were accustomed to contributing ideas and participating in decision-making felt silenced and disregarded. Workloads increased as experienced employees left and were replaced by agency workers, creating inconsistency and additional pressure. Employees reported feeling hopeless and dissatisfied, which reflects the low morale associated with the depression stage of the model. The psychological contract was effectively breached, as expectations of trust, respect, and involvement were no longer met. Rising sickness absence and voluntary turnover are clear behavioral indicators of this stage. Rather than progressing towards acceptance, many employees exited the organization, suggesting that change was poorly managed and insufficient emotional support was provided. In the final stages of the Kubler-Ross model, individuals begin experimenting with new ways of working, eventually reaching decision and integration. However, at Calmere House, there is little evidence that many employees reached this stage. Poor communication, lack of consultation, and a rigid leadership approach prevented psychological adjustment. Effective change management requires transparent communication, employee involvement, and visible support from leadership. If Chaffinch Group had adopted a more participative approach, acknowledged employees' emotional responses, and explained the long-term strategic vision, resistance may have reduced. HR interventions such as listening forums, well-being support, leadership training, and engagement surveys could help rebuild trust and guide employees through the transition. Understanding change through the Kubler-Ross model highlights the importance of addressing both structural and emotional dimensions of change to achieve sustainable organizational performance and employee commitment.